It is okay. People will react. There are a percentage of the problem, of course, they're going to react to things. Natural medicine is natural, but it's still medicine. The word is there, medicine. And so they're going to react in different ways. We just have the luxury of having, hundreds of different herbs to choose from, and every problem having 4 or 5, at least 5 herbs to pick for each single problem. So we know that we can change things up, we can swap things about. And with the supplements, all of the companies make similar supplements that are slightly different. So we've got such a huge array of products in our arsenal. Hello and welcome. Mentoring with Geraldine is a bite-sized practitioner podcast for naturopaths, nutritionists, herbalists, and practitioners. This podcast responds directly to your needs, the needs of the practicing natural therapist. With interviews, herbal discussions, something business and something clinical each week, you'll get the variety you need and enjoy to stay motivated in practice. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Mentoring with Geraldine and the Bite Size Podcast. And I am, of course, Geraldine. Now, I wanted to talk to you today about an email I got. And if you have something that you would like me to go over and talk about, then please let me know, because I'm more than happy to share the answers with you and, of course, with all the other podcast listeners. So today I got it was a message. It wasn't an email, actually. I won't read the whole of it. I'll just read the 2 significant points. It says here, blah. What mindset should I have when a client has not improved or when a client has unpleasant reactions after treatment? And I thought this is something that affects all of us. And when we first come across this in practice and on either of these, so the client hasn't improved can be a multiple reasons, and that goes on all the way through your practice, as does reactions after treatment. So I'll take this as a 2-part question and I'll break it down and let's go through it. And if you've got questions like this that you'd like me to answer, please let me know. So the first part, what mindset should I have when a client has not improved? So let's really think about that and break that down. So my mindset when someone hasn't improved is, did I set the goal or the goals too high? Now, I always ask when they first come to see me what a client's top 3 goals are with seeing me. Now, sometimes they can be nebulous. On the Finding Your Flow webinar, I talk about goal setting, and I also talk about that in my coaching course and in the Graduate Mastery Program a lot. So when we set those goals with the client, we need to make sure that they can keep accountable to them, that they're realistic, that they're time framed, all of the things that go with goal setting. So when we think about what should our mindset be with these goals the client has set, we can go back and we can have a look at them. And were they too nebulous? And often when I ask for top 3 goals, the first one is, to get over the bloating or whatever the problem is. And then the other one might be, acne, whatever the problem is. And then the third one might be healthy. Now, be healthy is too nebulous. So when we say to our client, perhaps who's got acne or, and we want to change their diet, the be healthy part to change the diet, that might be a bit too nebulous. And so we have to really break it down and create time frames around it so they can understand. And when they still come back to us and they say, I haven't really improved, I haven't really changed, we have to nut down that conversation with them. We have to make sure that we've clearly understood, we've understood our first appointment with them, and that we're able in the subsequent appointments to say, well, when you first came to see me, you were bloating all the time, your stomach was sticking out, and your waist circumference was, 100 centimetres. When I saw you last time, you said that you were only bloating after lunch and it had gone by dinner time and your waist circumference had come down by, 20 centimetres. I'm making this up, okay? I'm just giving you an example. So that means that when we get to that conversation and they say, well, nothing's changed, we can say, well, look, your waist circumference has dropped and dropped. The bloating has reduced. What else hasn't changed? The acne is still there, okay? So we didn't prioritize the acne in our conversation maybe, or maybe it's taking longer because of the gut health. But these are things our client needs to know, and we need to go back over and discuss with them. Because if they're not improving the way they want to improve, is there also a barrier to improvement? What is holding them back from improvement. Weight loss is a pretty obvious one for a conversation, isn't it? We have a client come in and they say they want to lose weight, and so we start them off on whatever it might be, diet changes, it might be supplements, whatever there is. For me, it would also be hypnosis as well. So we go through those things with them, and then invariably they come back at some point. They'll say, oh, well, I went to a party and I did all the wrong things, so I couldn't be bothered the next day, so I just went back to my old eating habits. Okay, so here we've got barriers. We've got barriers to change for our client. They felt like a failure on that night. They went out and they now feel like a failure, so they don't want to do it anymore. So this is a barrier that, yes, they have set up for themselves because they feel like a failure, but it's also for us as well to realize that we need to change the way we work. This client needs more interaction with us. This client needs more support from us. This client might need regular input from us, like, weekly texts or telephone conversations with us. It might be we have to realign and change how we work with them because this client needs ongoing support, and seeing us on an irregular or appointments that are spaced out too far just allows this person to feel like a failure more often than if we see them more often and we make sure that we're encouraging them more. Because we have to find their barriers. So we all have desires, don't we? We all want to quit something, do something, change something, and then something else will happen. L plate. So my daughter went for her L plate, and she was going, and all sorts of barriers jumped in our way. The office closes at 4:30. There wasn't a space. You had to book in. All of these, so these are simple barriers in her actually getting that initial license, sitting there getting the exam written or the test, whatever it is, written, which she failed the first time after we'd finally gotten around. She was so nervous by the time she got there, she failed the test. So we had to go away and we had to come back again, and you have to wait. And all of these things make people feel like a failure, and that's just the example of it, getting your L plates. But these things go through life as well. So we have to figure out what are the challenges for this person. So for weight loss, it might be that they have, 4 children. They're trying to lose weight, but meanwhile they have to cook for 4 children, and you're asking them to do perhaps a different meal for them. How are they going to juggle that in? How are they going to change cooking for those children? Or maybe they've got one fussy eater, or children that have to be transported all over the place because there's 4 of them, and so they have to be in 4 different places after school. We need to look at what barriers to change they have, and what they can do to achieve change, and how we can help them achieve that change. So it might be our appointments are too far apart. It might be that we've asked them to do too much. It might be that they have they're someone who says yes to everything, and meanwhile they're not actually able to do all those things. So they're a yes person, so they've said yes, I can do all those things, and then they've not done them. So we really need to make sure that we have understood those barriers, that we are willing to change the goalposts for them. We are willing to change the timelines for them. We are willing to really look at, we see them for a longer period of time. You're seeing them, maybe a follow-up's half an hour for you. They're 40 minutes for me because it includes, I take the money and I rebook them. So all my follow-ups are 40 minutes. Whereas in actual fact, the appointment itself is only half an hour. That means, do I need to see them more often? Should I have them in a program? Would a program help where they're getting regular emails from me? What barriers are preventing them? And have I judged them, or do they feel judged by me? All right. So there's all sorts of things going on in the world right now, and there's a lot of judging of other people going on right now. And so does this person feel judged by us? By they already feel judged, chances are, by social media and everything else. No matter what you've done, you feel judged by social media, don't you? So when we look at their barriers, then we break down their barriers. We need to open up with them and talk to them about those barriers so that we can change the plan. So your plan has to be an ever-living object. It cannot be set in stone. That's why I don't believe in long plans for people, like writing pages and pages of stuff and telling them about yourself, why they're seeing a naturopath, what your qualifications are. They've already found you, they already know you. So, and hopefully while you're with them, they've seen your certificates and they know that you're accredited with an association. So we don't need to hand all that stuff out to them. We need a simple plan that can change and flow with the needs of our clients. So hopefully that's covered that first half of that question. The second half of that question is when a client has unpleasant reactions after treatment. So this happens, right? I mean, I'm a herbalist. Herbs can taste pretty horrible. So I've had reactions where people have just said, I can't drink that, Geraldine, it's horrible. And I've thought to myself, well, actually, that was one of the most mild, okay herbal mixes I think I've ever made, and you can't drink it. So that's fine. We'll swap it out for a capsule or tablet. But you have to have 2 or maybe even 3 to cover what was in that 1 bottle of herbs. I've had people, so niacin flush. I'm sure you've heard about niacin flushes. If you haven't given one to somebody already, a new product comes out and you think, yep, this multi-B looks amazing. It's got everything in it that I want, and really good levels of doses. And they have, but it's not non-flushing. It's a flushing niacin. And so we can change things, simple things. So have it with food. Have it with breakfast. Don't have it on an empty stomach. The zinc and iron thing. Obviously, we want our iron in the morning, or it might be taken at night with dinner because they have a steak at dinner and not at breakfast. But it's ready to go in the morning when the blood can uptake it because it's binaural and all of those things. So, the hepcidin. So, nighttime, they might be reacting to zinc, mightn't they? They might be having nausea with taking a zinc supplementation. So we have to think to ourselves, maybe that zinc goes at bedtime, just before they put their head on the pillow. Then they'll be asleep. They won't notice any nausea. So things that are horrible tasting, you may have to change the time of day. You may have to put them with food. You may decide to massively reduce the dose. So like a herbal tincture, if they say, no, I can't do it, and you're like, well, and then they say, well, no, I don't want to do 3 tablets. So, okay, let's start drop dosing. Let's start really low dose and work up. And it might be that your client is actually very successful on a low dose. I have a number of clients who are very successful, very low dosing with drop dosing with the herbs rather than the full, you would consider a full herbal dosage. So we really need to think about time, the time of the day it's taken, what it's taken with, whether we can reduce the dose. And the other thing that's totally okay to do is if they've had a reaction to say, stop it for 2 days. Just totally stop for 2 days. And then maybe if you've given them more than one thing and they don't know what it is, so let's stop everything for 2 days. And then in 2 days' time, I want you to start on one of the items and see how you get on with it. Then when we know that one's good after 2 to 3 days, we'll introduce the next one. Then if that's all good, 2 to 3 days later with those 2, then we'll introduce the third one. Or if you've given them 3 supplements, for example. So it is okay. People will react. There are a percentage of the problem. Of course, they're going to react to things. Natural medicine is natural, but it's still medicine. The word is there, medicine. And so they're going to react in different ways. We just have the luxury of having, hundreds of different herbs to choose from, and every problem having 4 or 5, at least 5 herbs to pick for each single problem. So we know that we can change things up. We can swap things about. And with the supplements, all of the companies make similar supplements that are slightly different. So we've got such a huge array of products in our arsenal that we can do what we like, but sometimes people will react, and we just have to be ready for that. And it's not a case of, fine, you say, I'm very sorry, but we can just change it up and they can still take those things. The other one, of course, is this herbal tincture doesn't taste like the last one you made me. No, but it's exactly the same thing. You haven't changed it. I don't want to accept. No, it tastes different because herbs are picked at different times of year. They're active ingredients, different farms they come from. There are different companies. I buy from 4 different herbal companies, so of course they're going to taste different. Some are fresh tincture, some are dried. One is fresh and dried. So there's a huge array there that's going to change things as well. So I always say to people, we're just going to take our time. We're going to slow it down. We're going to take a couple of days off. Then we'll reintroduce at a very low level. And if there's more than one thing, we introduce those days apart so we know what's happening. So I just thought I'd answer that one here on the podcast. So I'm going to leave it now because, it's a bite-sized podcast and all that. And I hope that you have an absolutely brilliant rest of day. And if you've got any questions, please let me know. So Geraldine, what is my email? It's Geraldine at mentoringwithgeraldine.biz. There we go, I did know it, and now you know it too. So I really look forward to hearing from you soon. Bye. Thanks so much for joining me today. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast for the weekly episodes. If you'd like even more support and learning, then the Academy is for you. Here you'll find part 2 of the herbal discussions, more clinical learning, and case studies to support your clients in practice. Bye for now.